So, I recently had nothing better to do with my life. Can you tell how much alcohol I've had? Anyway, new Insidious movie just dropped a indiscernible amount of time ago. And I remember being that bright-eyed teenager when the older Insidious movies came out, and I was like, wow, that's a good fucking movie. I'd be kicking my feet, I'd be overjoyed to sneak into that theater because I wasn't old enough to watch it, and I'd go watch it. And by damn, if that wasn't a cool ass movie. I had completely forgotten any plot to these movies, only that I enjoyed them when I was younger, so I decided to revisit them since the new one just came out, and spoilers, it didn't really hold up. So this is a new video series that I've been thinking about doing where I kind of just take a cinematic universe of any movie series and kind of just break down shortly what each movie is about and kind of just rank them as I go along, and I obviously drink along with it. I hope you guys do enjoy it, and if you hate it, to the 30 of you that watch this, just tell me. But we're getting into it and we're already drunk. I had some at the pub before I came home. I obviously drove home and here we are drinking more. Okay, so the first movie is Insidious. It's a real icon for its time. It grossed a absolutely disgusting amount of money, I remember at the time, for what its actual budget was. And I also remember it being extremely innovative and unique in its time for horror. But it was a fun movie to go through again, and I did really enjoy it still. So unlike in other movies, I'm actually going to try to remember the names of characters because I really think that this might actually help me describe what's going on. Unlike in other series, I kind of just describe it as somebody's manic wife or somebody's poor husband, and I don't actually go in and bother to learn their names. This time I think I actually will have to because we're dealing with several movies here, people. So, the first movie starts in California. Husband is Josh and wife is Renee. Josh is who we will recognize as the demonologist in The Conjuring in later series, foreshadowing for another video. If you haven't alluded, I'm also working on a full-ass drunk commentary for the Conjuring movie universe as well. Stay tuned for that one. It will be a bit more of a doozy because there's a lot more fucking movies in that one than this one. Thank God. Why did I say thank God? It's actually terrible. So anyway, his family, they move into their giant fucking house in California. Husband is like a substitute teacher, and that house costs like $9 billion, and their wife doesn't even work. But, you know, they can just afford that $9 billion house in California because it's 2010, I guess. So are we supposed to assume the housing market is still crashed? I guess we are. Man, I wish I wasn't in middle school listening to Green Day when the housing market crashed. I could have owned like 7 houses by now. Anyway, they lead a pretty normal life until their son Dalton, who seems to be the oldest, just one day does not wake up. The doctors absolutely don't know what's wrong with him, and weird shit starts happening within the house. The wife seems to be the only one actually noticing weird shit's happening because the husband's experiencing weird shit happening, but he's just kind of ignoring it. Like, the entire series is like basically him gaslighting his wife into the fact that like he believes her, but he hasn't seen anything happen, even though multiple times we see him experience things fucking happening. So in the midst of seeing all these crazy things, we get introduced to our absolutely star character, Elise. She is a sidekick and she has her little goons that are like her sidekick assistants that are gonna come in. She's gonna talk to spirits and they're gonna help get proof that the spirits are happening. Unlike in the Conjuring series where they actually do need to develop proof, Elise is kind of just like, guys, I think there's bad things here, and they're like, okay. She reveals to the family that she thinks that Dalton has some sort of clairvoyant ability, meaning that he has a connection with the other side of the realms, and he's accidentally gotten himself stuck there, hence why he hasn't woken up. She says this ability would have had to be passed down from him, hence she thinks that his dad Josh has this ability. She hands off her sword to the dad Josh to just go into the other side of the upside down and find his son. Wait, it's called something else in this movie. That's Stranger Things. The dad obviously goes and does that, but he brings something sinister back with him. And that sinister thing ends up killing Elise. And really, we're not actually alluded much further other than there was an entity in the other side that wanted to kill Elise. Josh brought her back with him, and she killed Elise. And that pretty much ends the movie. So we got a solid start. You know, I don't really hate the movie, but I don't really love it. I think it is a good, strong start, though, to a series. I can vouch for that. And we're on to number 2, baby! And we're living in Josh's mother's house, and believe it or not, he is still possessed from the first movie. You know, we saw an entity take him over, meaning he brought something negative back with him from the other side. That's what killed Elise. But we actually do see that in the second movie. He's still possessed. The entity never left him. All the typical possession things start seeming off about him. Like, you know, he's kind of telling his wife everything is fine, but he's acting really weird. Weird stuff starts happening in the house. His skin starts rotting off his body. His teeth start falling out. You know, normal things that happen. You know, getting old sucks, guys. But remember, in the other movie, guys, Elise is dead. Elise is dead, and she is, believe it or not, their star character, and it's very obvious that they absolutely regret killing her off in the first movie, because absolutely everybody loved her, they loved her gifts, and in these newer movies, they do absolutely every single thing they can to bring her back somehow. So Elise's goons and someone she knew off camera that we never met before now get introduced, and basically we're supposed to believe that, like, oh, this guy is gonna be the new Elise and he's gonna help Josh get unpossessed. They do some research into the ghost that's apparently haunting Elise. Lord knows how they do that. They find out that the ghost is basically that of a dead serial killer that would murder women while cross-dressing like a woman. That's a subject I'm just not gonna touch on in this modern society or in this video. The husband Josh finally gets full-on possessed with this girl, and this is when that Elise friend and the goons need to go to the further to bring the dad back. Obviously, everybody in our actual real world get attacked. Loads, the goons get attacked, as well as the wife and kids get attacked. Obviously, they inevitably bring the husband back and he snaps out of it, but like, wouldn't you be extremely fucking traumatized if your husband or your dad just tried to kill you because they were possessed? Who's doing the counseling for this, guys? Who's doing it? Anyway, figured I'm drunk enough. You guys like my lights? Didn't want to change the color. I just kind of got a little lazy and I needed to turn on some lights. This is perfect. A little ominous, a little weird, a little haphazard. Perfect for the channel. Also, I do have to add, in this movie, this is a trope that I absolutely hate in every single possession movie that exists. Why is the husband absolutely rotting and his teeth falling out of his head and his skin literally falling off his body? And then the second that he is no longer possessed, he just looks normal, he just looks fine. Is that what would happen? Catholic Church, is that what you're telling me? Is that what would happen? I don't believe you. Anyway, I hate that trope, and for that trope alone, it's definitely going under 1. So we're ranking 1, 2 right now. And we're moving on to the third installment, Insidious Chapter 3. Now, right off the bat, I really did like this movie, I'll be real. Because we stopped following this fucking boring ass family, this Josh and Renee family tree. I just dislike them. They're just so fucking boring. The husband and wife have like no goddamn chemistry as people. It honestly is just very boring. And for one movie, just one Insidious movie, I could pass it. I could see it as okay. But then when you start forcing in another movie, I think that the directors and the producers were just like, we can't keep using this fucking family. No one's gonna pay to see this goddamn family. They suck. So, we're brought around to our big money maker, which is Elise. So Chapter 3 is actually a prequel where Elise is obviously still with us. She was kind of like the franchise's favorite character this entire time, so obviously they keep backtracking on killing her off in the first movie because they realized that that was a monumentous mistake. So a little background story on Chapter 3, we have a teenager named Quinn, and she recently lost her mother to cancer. She's very sad about this, as anybody would be. She comes to ask Elise for help because she has heard that Elise is a clairvoyant. But Elise is retired, and in that time, this is a prequel, she's actually mourning the death of her husband who has just recently passed, and she is kind of in no place to deal with Quinn's bullshit about wanting to talk to her mom. But several days later, Elise is visited in a dream, basically reconciling the fact that she needs to help Quinn because there's actually a negative presence following Quinn and it's not her mother. Later, we see Quinn actually get in a extremely violent car accident that kind of just comes out of nowhere and is just extremely aggressive. But before that, she did see a man kind of like waving, smiling at her, and we're supposed to assume that that's obviously the entity that's following her that is not positive. This accident renders her completely unable to move because there's severe damage to her legs and spine. I actually really like this new factor that we're now experiencing of kind of the helplessness of a character not being able to get away, not being able to run away from anything. They're basically trapped within their own body, which is kind of a horrifying concept to anybody not experiencing demon stuff, let alone if they were. Elise finally comes to help the young girl Quinn in this situation with her new enlisted goons at the time. This is kind of before she's met the goons that we've met in the first and second movie, so this is her process of meeting her goons. She comes in to help Quinn with the enlisted help of these new goons, and they basically start on their process of starting a business together and getting the ball rolling. Trust me, these movies like to hammer home the lore so much. They really just like to be like, hey guys, you see these people? They're in those other movies. You recognize them? Do you? But then I also realized the actually common audience of most horror movies are not going to be interested in the whole lore of the movie, so I honestly think that they're kind of just pandering to a dense audience that's never seen this before, so kudos, I guess. Anyway, I liked this movie more than I liked the second movie, so this movie is going before 2, but I still think 1 is iconic and 1 takes the first place. And we have Insidious 4! We're moving on. Do you like that intro? I could work for WOD. I just said WOE. WWE. Never mind, I don't speak English. I can't work for them. This is Insidious 4, The Last Key. So, I'm gonna be real, this movie doesn't really feel like an Insidious movie. This movie kind of feels like somebody kind of pitched this movie to a producer and was like, hey, I have this really cool idea for a ghost movie. And then the Insidious producers heard the script for the movie and they were just like, we'll be taking that. Because it kind of just has a very different vibe from the other Insidious movies, which makes me think that it's just kind of a different movie, I'll be honest. This film starts with a young Elise. Yep, we're still milking Elise, guys. Not like that. So we still start with young Elise, and she's in the 1950s. Her dad is extremely abusive to her because she seems psychologically fucking insane because she's talking to ghosts. Obviously, her mom is like a 1950s mom, and she's like, what the fuck you want me to do about that? Listen to your dad. And that's kind of like, you know, our whole background on what she does. Elise gets approached in the middle of the night by an entity who basically convinces her to open the red door. We've seen the red door in all the Insidious movies beforehand. The red door seems to have some sort of symbolism for crossing into the afterlife. We've all seen the red door beforehand. If you've seen a damn movie called Insidious, you've seen a fucking red door. Anyway, entity convinces her to open a red door for it. Once she's convinced and she opens the red door, the entity kills her mother. After that, we're just going to assume that the abuse continues from her father with her mother not there, and she eventually just runs away at what I'm guessing is a young teenager, 15, 16. And now she's clearly an adult, and we cut to that. And her goons get a call that somebody is also experiencing very violent paranormal activities at her childhood home. She agrees to help this person despite the immensely horrible energy that she has regarding her childhood home. She goes there anyway. And she's, you know, apparently forgotten that she unleashed a demon that killed her mom however many years ago, and the fact that it could still be there, you know, apparently we've forgotten that. Also, since she's in her hometown, she happens to run into her brother and her nieces, her brother's children. Because, you know, apparently, even though he was absurdly abused his entire life, he's decided that he's not going to leave the town and just stay there, I guess, doing the same old thing, because that's a real healthy coping mechanism. Anywho, he wants nothing to do with Elise because she obviously ran away from home and left him there, which at that point I honestly can't blame him, but you know, brother, you stayed in your own hometown for the past 50 years, so that's on you. Anywho, really random fucking plot twist, but turns out that the guy that's living in that house that called Elise and the team there, yeah, he's actually just like harboring women in his basement and fucking killing them. So like, why would you call these fucking people to your house to report paranormal activity when you were like torturing and killing women in your house? I need a fucking drink. That makes no sense to me. Anyway, guy gets like arrested or killed or whatever the fuck happens to him. I don't really care. And Elise's brother and her nieces decide they're gonna go look through the house for stuff that they want from their childhood or something. I don't fucking remember. And one of the girls gets attacked by the demon that killed Elise's mom. And lo and behold, they're gonna have to go into that upside down to save the sister. Lord, have we not seen this before in the previous fucking 3 movies? Obviously, they get rid of the demon and the girl comes back to the real world. Hallelujah. The demon just looks terrible in this movie. It has like no lips and it just looks really fucking weird. I kind of liked the design of the other demons in the other movies a lot more. They looked a lot creepier. But he did have those key things that kind of just like unlocked different sections of people's souls almost as he was killing them. So we're gonna have to put that up a notch. That's kind of cool. And we're gonna rank this movie above the second one, but still behind the third one. And ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to Insidious, the Red Door. This is the 5th and final, well, let's fucking hope it's the final installment of this cinematic universe. And you gotta love that even the promo poster, Elise is fucking in it, even though she's been dead in this fucking movie for like 20 years. Alright, so let's get over ourselves. It's been like 10 years in real life from the movie in Insidious 2. The dad, Josh, was, possessed and he tried to kill his whole family and, the family had to move on from that. Well, we find out what happens when the family has to move on from that. And, lo and behold, they're fucking divorced. They're divorced and Josh's mom is dead. The kids don't fucking like him. They're like, ew, dad, gross, don't talk to us. Which I fucking hate a divorced parent plot. I just think it's so lazy. I think it's such easy writing to write in characters that are so like in contempt for each other. It's really hard to write cohesive, loving relationships. And so I think a lot of movies just kind of opt for the opposite. And I think it's lazy. And I hate it. I hate you, movie, for it. I really do. Anyway, Dalton, our main sleepy lad from the first and second movie, yeah, he's going to college, and then Josh, the dad, thinks that, hey, I'm going to try to reconnect with my son while he's going to college. I'm really going to try to help him out. A real goofy movie plot we have going on here. Dalton is going to school for art, so kind of seems like he wants to follow in that divorced dad arc, as everyone would think. But he starts having disturbing dreams again, just like when he was a kid. He shares these disturbing dreams that he's having with one of his new friends that he made, who kind of obviously believes him right off the bat, as you, I guess, hope that your random new friends would do. And she agrees to watch him while he sleeps, but she ends up also getting attacked by an entity, which makes her be like, fuck no, I'm not doing this. First sane character in a fucking movie. But lo and behold, it's the same demon that's been haunting him from the first movie because, God forbid this movie could think of an original idea for once. I don't even know if they had these actors for this 5th movie. I think they had these actors for this 5th movie for like 4 days or some shit. So they just had to reuse so much rehashed footage from previous movies in this 5th movie. But it felt like there was like 30 minutes of actual new movie in this 5th movie. And then like an hour remaining of just the previous first and second Insidious movies. Anyway, the main plot is that him and his dad, who both clearly have this clairvoyant ability, have to go into the Upside Down and they have to seal the Red Door so that nobody can go and visit the spirit realm again and the spirits can't come access them. Whatever. And then lo and behold, at the end of the movie, there's a fucking Elise cameo, because why wouldn't they do that? I bet she was like, guys, you gotta give me my fucking paycheck for this. I know that this series rides on me. I fucking know it does. Anyway, this movie has literally 0 new ideas, 0 new scares, 0 cool effects, 0 cool majors. It's literally just lame. For anybody who paid to see this movie in theaters, God bless you. But in my opinion, it was by far the worst movie. And so this is hitting the bottom rank for me. So, final rank. We have the first Insidious movie. We have the third Insidious movie. We have Insidious 4, The Last Key. We have the second Insidious movie, and we have the final rehashed version of all the Insidious movies, Insidious The Red Door, coming in 5th place. Worst placing ever. It shouldn't have even been a fucking movie. But anyway, guys, this has been my ranking and my discussion about all of these movies. Usually, I spend a lot more time on an individual movie. I'm gonna spend a good 30 minutes talking about a movie, and then I'm gonna cut it down to 15, 16 minutes. But this is my first time that I've actually kind of speed run talking about movies and kind of cut it down really shortly, because I assume that no one wants to watch a 60-minute video of me talking about the Insidious series. But anyway, I really do hope that you did like my speed dating version of this Insidious series. I obviously had a couple drinks beforehand. That's my favorite way to film videos, and I really did hope you guys liked it. If you don't like this kind of series, you don't like this stuff, just let me know and I won't end up doing it in the future if you guys don't like it. But of course, if you guys have stuck around, please make sure to interact with this. But if you guys have stuck around this long, please make sure to interact with this video and leave a like and subscribe if you really did like the content. I'm gonna prepare more like this for you guys. And anyway, thank you so much, guys. See you soon.